What we got here? All right, we really need Shmuley for tonight. A whole lot of history. Let me get my son to stop the drums. Hold on.
Yaakov, I have to ask a question. You have an extremely busy house, an extremely busy profession, a lot of kids, a lot of things. You have shirim, you're on the phone all day, etc. At what point did anyone say having a set of drums in my house is a good idea?
You know what? If that floats his boat, then that's all good.
Just, you know, I
don't even hear it. Only because of the shear. That's the only reason why I hear the drum.
We hear it.
Yeah, that's why I asked him to stop. If it was just me, I would continue along.
Well, the real question is which house.
In truth, I don't really care. I don't really hear much of it. I just think it's hilarious on your part that your children have drums.
Yeah, trumpet. It's good. It's good. Keeps them out of trouble.
At least you like your neighbors.
You know what? I wish I played drums. To be honest with you, I wish I played drums.
Probably a lot happier.
There you go.
As you are.
I'm not 100% sure. I can't like harmonica, a kazoo. You should wear. Get a kazoo.
Kazoo?
The kazoo.
Kazoo. A kazoo.
Rub the kazoo.
Kalamazoo.
Not so far from me, by the way.
I'm asking accordion.
Accordion. Yeah.
We can get you a violin like a lot of Tishrei Rebbes.
I would love to hear Chassidus Rebbe actually play violin. I'm curious what that sounds like.
It doesn't sound very good. We're going to Beethoven, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need to be vaccinated to go there.
It's probably like a niggin in the key of violin.
Probably sounds like a Levia, that's all.
And there's a famous video
coming from some lit box, you know.
Someone did an edit of a video and added the worst violin sound. And it looks like the Rebbe is just killing it. Not in a good one.
Okay, so let's go. So we are continuing our march through history over here. What did we get up to? Oh, for Rosh Hashana Iyar. It's about 10 lines down. Gimel Amud Aleph. Yeah, you have it? Ve'ema Rosh Hashana Iyar. Who says Rosh Hashana has to be Nissan? Maybe it should be Iyar. Right, which is quite an interesting question. Meaning, why should it be Iyar? Any particular reason why it should be Iyar as opposed to any other month? Okay, but that's the Gemara's asking. The Gemara is going to ask about Sivan also, when Tam was in Av. So anyways, Rosh Hashanah's Iyar. So the Gemara says, don't think that. So it was in the first month, which is Nissan. What? What do you say? Parrot, did you say something? What? Okay. Anyway, so I said to Siv, it was in the first month of the second year, the first day of the month, they put up the Mishkan. And it says in the second year, the second month, the cloud went up from the Mishkan Ha'edus. So in the first pasuk, it was Nissan, and it was called the second year. And in the second pasuk, and it was in Iyar, and it called it the second year. So if Iyar is the new year, so then Iyar should be the third year. So, but it doesn't call Iyar the third year; it called Iyar the second year. So Mechlal, the Rosh Hashana love Iyar who. So it must be that Rosh Hashana is not Iyar. Okay, so then Rosh Hashana Sivan. Maybe Rosh Hashana should be Sivan. No, don't think that. Because in the third month, which is Sivan, from when the Klal Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim, right? It shouldn't be the year they went out, because if Sivan is the new month, so that as the new year, so then Sivan would already be the second year. So it doesn't say that. So it must be that Sivan is not a Rosh Hashanah either. Okay, so Ve'ema Tammuz, Ve'ema Av, Ve'ema Adar. Say Tammuz, maybe it's Av, and maybe it's Adar. Right? So, when I say what happened to the other months? Right? That we already did. Yeah? Because then we already discussed that it can't be those other months. Yeah, so the Gemara, so maybe it should be one of those three. Okay, so Elam Rav Elazar, so Rav Elazar takes a different shot. Mehacha, we learn it out from here. Vayochel livnois b'chodesh hasheni b'sheni b'shnas arba l'malchusa. This is talking about in Divrei Yomim. So Shlomo, when he began to build the base of Mikdash, so Vayochel livnois, he started to build b'chodesh hasheni, the second month b'sheni. The question is, what's that b'sheni? It says he began to build in the second month, b'sheni, b'shnas arba l'malchusa, in the fourth year of his king, is whatever it is when he was a king. So what's that sheni? My sheni. What's that sheni doing there? La sheni liyerach shemainin by malchusa. Doesn't it mean the second month from the month that he started his kingdom? Right, which is when Iyar. So therefore, it must be the second month into his kingdom. That means Nissan was the first month. So you see that you start to count in Nissan. Right? Again, we don't know what to do with this word sheni. So assuming the sheni means the second month. So it means the second month, and it was Iyar. So that means the second month of his kingdom. So that means Nissan was the first month. So you see that it's Nissan. So Mazal Ravina Ve'ema Sheni B'Chodesh. Maybe it means the second day of the month. So Gemara answers him, Kain Sheni B'Chodesh B'Hed Yehavah. It should have said the second day of the month. Why did you say Sheni? Okay, so then Gemara asks Ve'ema B'Sheni B'Shabbos. Maybe it meant on Monday. So Chada, the Lo Yashkechon Sheni B'Shabbos. One teretz is that we don't see anywhere that it says a day of the week, Tichsiv, right? Meaning the psukim never talk about days of the week. We're going to make a comparison between the second and the first sheni. Ma sheni kama chodesh, just like the first sheni was referring to the month. Sheni basur chodesh, so too the second one is also the month. Now there's a kasha on this. When it says Iyar Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, is that referring to the day of the week or the day of the month? Right? I don't know. I always thought it referred to the day of the week. No?
The braysa ilum. So.
Right, so Taisus asked this kasha. Taisus said, what do you mean we don't say days of the week in the Torah? You say it in Bereshis. Right?
Yeah, but they're one and the same if it's the beginning.
It's true, but the question is when it says Iyar Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, is that referring to the day of the week or day of the creation? So Taisus is saying it's not the day of the week, it's the day of the creation. It ends up being the same thing. It's not the same thing, Gershon? Can't hear you. Can anybody hear him?
And it's not me.
No, we can't.
Oh, he's not muted.
But I can't be. I can't be sure that that's not on purpose.
Am I on now?
No.
What?
Okay.
No, now you are. Go ahead. Parents,
Oh,
pull
no.
your
I
leg
was
on
kidding. I was kidding. If I
thought
said
you were
no, that
breathing
means I
like
heard
your brother
you. No?
does.
What do you
You
say?
hear me? No.
How can it be the days of the week? Days of the week are based on the sun. The sun didn't exist until the third day.
Good. Okay, fair. That's a fair point.
The Yom Rishon can't be a day of the week. It's not. There's no way it could be Sunday if there's no sun.
So what is it? The day of what?
Whatever the day means,
Day
it's
of
a day
creation.
of creation. That's what Taisa says. It doesn't mean a week. There was no week. There's no Shabbos.
That's okay. That's what I mean. I always assumed that it was the day of the week. I'm sorry to say, I'm not. I never gave it too much thought, to be honest with you.
I always assumed it could be either 3 seconds. It could be any given time that we have today. There was no time.
Okay, so that's already a different sheet to what they say that that in order to prove that the world's millions of years old, each day of creation was millions of years, which they slug that up. But that's some people say that.
Too. It could be milliseconds. It could be billions of years. It could be anything. We don't know. That's up to Hashem what it was.
Right. Okay, but one thing, it's zikr not the day of the week, right?
Yeah, but you could have this confused with the Shir Shel Yom. I mean, we say Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni. The Torah says Yom Echad, Yom Sheni, but we say Shir Shel Yom b'Shabbos. So it may be Lemafreya today because at the end when he was finished with creation, he created a week. He only knew it because Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi.
Well, I mean, so you're saying that it is?
I'm not saying the Gemara, but I'm saying when you're talking about the Chumash, sure, that is a Yom because at the end after he was finished with creation, it was one day, it was a second day, it was a third day.
Right. No, okay, I hear that, but he's saying, but it's not referring to the day of the week. That's for sure. Which
It's
I guess.
strange.
What are you saying?
It's just strange to me to say that each of those 6 days in the Chumash was 840 million years, and when Adam showed up, he went to buy challahs, and it was 24 hours. That Shabbos was 24 hours. Sounds strange to me.
But Siakal, we say Iyar Yom HaShishi, which is referring to Friday, right? Are we not referring to that day? Why are we saying Iyar Yom HaShishi on Friday night?
Well, it comes out now that it was the 6th day of creation. No.
So it was a day. When the Torah says Shishi, you see the idea of Shishi. Was Shishi not referring to the day? Are we not referring to the same thing that the Torah is referring to when it says Iyar Yom HaShishi?
We are referring to the day of creation, not the day of the week.
So why are we referring to that on Friday night?
Because I think it ended up being Friday night.
Then the Torah is referring to the day of the week.
No, but then it was referring on the 6th day. He rested on the 7th
so you
day.
see
but
there's
then we adopted that as Shabbos because he rested.
But so you see the Torah does refer to the days of the week when it was talking about Shishi.
I think the day of the week came later. I guess that's what you have to say. What?
What the 6th day? Are we saying when we say Iyar Yom HaShishi, is that not talking about the 6th day?
Now it is, but then it wasn't.
Right. That's
when
what
the
I
Torah said Iyar Yom HaShishi. When Moshe wrote the Torah down, he wasn't referring to the 6th day of creation.
He was.
I mean now. So then the Torah was written talking about the days of the week.
No, it was the 6th day of creation. Then Hashem rested. So because Hashem rested after the 6th day of creation, Memela, we made every 7th day into Shabbos.
Why are we referencing the 6th day of creation?
Because because the next after the 6th day of creation.
That's the lead-in. That's the lead-in.
But the 6th day of creation is no shaykhs to Friday.
It doesn't. But then we made it into that.
Part of the bracha
Sushta?
Kiddush, being Mekadosh HaShabbos, is Zeicher L'Maaseh Bereishis. Not Zeicher to Friday of Bereishis. Zeicher
We
L'Maaseh.
mentioned Yom HaShishi. I understand that, but we're mentioning the Friday leading into Shabbos. What's Friday? It's not Friday. We're mentioning
Friday.
the sixth day.
The sixth day of creation.
What does that have to do with the Shabbos
Friday.
that we're talking about now?
What?
What does the sixth day of creation have to do with the Shabbos we have now?
It's the
What's
same
the connection?
Shabbos that was on the seventh day of creation.
I understand that.
So
what is the sixth day?
Right, so
what's the shaykhus of the sixth day of creation have to do with leading into Shabbos? Shabbos is Shabbos. The sixth day has nothing to do with that.
Are you asking a general question? How is Shabbos anything to do
I'm
with
asking
Shishis
if the
being
Torah is
righteous?
referring to when we say Shishi is not referring is referring to sixth day of creation. Why do we mention that when we're talking about leading into Shabbos? The sixth day of creation has no shaykhus to the Shabbos we have now or the Shabbos we had then. The idea of Shabbos has nothing to do with the sixth day of creation.
What?
The seventh day is Shabbos, not the sixth day. It's not the Shabbos. It's not the seventh day of creation. Every seventh day we have nowadays is Shabbos.
Well, originally it was the seventh day of creation.
I understand that, but we're talking when we mention it now. Why are we mentioning the sixth day of creation? What does that have to do with now?
Stam, why are we mentioning Yom HaShishi? We should just start from Vayichulu.
Yeah.
So
why are you mentioning Yom HaShishi? Who cares about Yom HaShishi?
The Mishnah Berurah kind of avarns it. He says the Lamitic today is not to stand for Kiddush at all. But for the words Yom HaShishi, Vayichulu HaShemayim should stand because Rosh Hashanah is Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Okay, but
that's Zeichel L'Maaseh Bereishis. So the Hashem is
but that's already a vart. That's already already a vart. Okay. Anyways, let's go back. Yeah, fine. Now we get a quick chazara of the previous Gemaras. Tanya Kavasei Rabbi Yochanan. We have a braysa like Rabbi Yochanan, right? And which is just going to be a kitzer of everything we learned in the last Amud and a half. Minayin she'ein mainin lehem lemalachim. Elami Nissan. How do you know you don't count for the Melachim only from Nissan? Right, it was 480 years. Uksiv Bayal Aaron Akain al Hara Hara al Pi Hashem. Right, Aaron went up to be nifter. Uksiv Ayibar Barim Shana Ba'ashtei Yosach Chodesh. On 40 years later, in the 11th month, Uksiv Acharei Akazi Sichon. Everybody saw that he was nifter. And so that's basically a chazara from all the psukim, right? And therefore, from all these psukim, we learn out that Nissan is the beginning of the counting for years. For kings years. So I'm Archashasta, yeah.
How does this braysa puts together the original pshat and Rebbe Lazar?
I think it just adds Rebbe Lazar's pshat. That's what it seems.
Okay, it seems
it's adding this pshat to yeah. So I'm Archashasta Loishanu Elul Malchi Yisrael. That's only for the Malchi Yisrael. Aval Malchi Umas Ha'olam Tishrei Maninon. But the Malchi Umas Ha'olam, right? Then that they would use, if they decided to use the Malchi Umas Ha'olam, that they counted from Tishrei. Shenemar, because it says the pasuk Divrei Nechmia ben Chaklaya. V'yibachayish Kislev Shnas Esrim. That these are the words of Nechmia, that it was in the Chayish Kislev in the 20th year of Archashasta, right? Who we started to discuss Uksiv, Nissan Shnas Esrim Lachasashta, and it says in the Chaydesh Nissan it was the 20th year to Archashasta. So Midakai Kislev. So if they were standing in Kislev, right? Because that's the month it took place. V'karei Shnas Esrim, and they called it the 20th year to his rule. V'kai Nissan v'karei Shnas Esrim, and then it was in Nissan, and it's also called it the 20th year. So Kislev, how does it go? Kislev. Teves, Shvat, Adar, Nissan. So why wasn't it the 21st year? Again, if Kislev was the 20th year of his kingdom, so when he hits Nissan should be the 21st year if you're saying Nissan is the new year for kings. So it must be that it's not that for a non-Jewish king, it's not the Tishrei, it's not Nissan, it's Tishrei. So therefore, it's still in the 20th year. Machlal, the Rosh Hashana love Nissan, who it's not Nissan. Right? So, yeah. So now the shaila is, there's a lot of background that's necessary for what's going on in the rest of this Gemara, which I cheated. So I looked in the art scroll, and they had the mamash in the footnote in the art scroll has a great thing here with the history of what went on here. And since Shmuli's not on, Shmuli can do it for us, but he's not on, right? So this is talking about the times right before the story or after, the story of Purim. Right, so you have Daryavesh, and you have Koresh, and you have Achashverosh, and you have this Archashasta. So we're going to see on Amud Beis that maybe it was all the same person, right? But so, anyways, so there was Daryavesh, then it was Koresh, and then what Koresh did is he said that the yidden can go back because this was Galus. What do you call it? Right, what do you call it? We call it Galus, but it was Paras, but it's Baba, really, right? So anyway, so Koresh said that the Yidden could go back and build the Beis HaMikdash, right? But then the Goyim got upset, so they got this Archashasta to take it back, right? So he took it back, and then they tried to get him back to allow the king. We're going to see in the further on in the Amud and tomorrow's Amud that they tried to convince him to allow the yidden to continue building, and then so then that's basically what it is. And now Nechmia was part of was one of the assistants to him, right? So Mela, he was part of the whole situation of trying to convince him to allow the yidden to build up the Beis HaMikdash. So that's what we're talking about, that these stories are going on with the 20th year of Archashasta's kingdom, right? So now let's see It's on the bottom line. So the first pasuk is Mefarish Archashasta. It says Archashasta, so that's who's talking about Elohim. But the other pasuk, right? The first pasuk, I said the first pasuk before, means the second pasuk. This one is the first pasuk. It doesn't say which king. Who says we're talking about Archashasta? Dilma on Amud Beis. Maybe it's talking about counting for 20 years for somebody else. Who says? You're trying to say it's 20 and 20, and one happened in Kislev and one happened in Nissan. So it must be that Nissan can't be the new year. Otherwise, one would be 20th year, and then the other person would be the 21st year, right? Why don't we? So then it must be that Tishrei is the Rosh Hashana. So, but maybe the 20th year has the 20th year in the other pasuk has no shaykhs to this, and you have no proof. So, Papa Shnas Esrim gezeira shava. We had this 2 days ago or yesterday. We had it yesterday. Shnas Esrim gezeira shava. No, we're going to make a gezeira shava from 20 to 20. Just like over there, the pasuk is talking about Archashasta because the pasuk says it's talking about Archashasta. I can't get this guy's name. Archashasta, yeah. Fine. Saying what else? The Kislev called him. Now, who says that Kislev came first? Dilma Maisa, the Nissan called him. Maybe, meaning the one pasuk says Kislev, so we're assuming it was Kislev, Teve, Shvat, Adar, and Nissan. Happened 5 months later, right? Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the Nissan happened first, and that's why it's in the 20th year. And there's no proof, meaning the first story happened by Nissan, then Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, of Elul, Tishrei, Cheshvan, right? So that's meaning it went that way. And you see that that Tishrei is not the Rosh Hashana. Right? So when it answers Lo Sakada, don't think that the Tani Dvarim She Omar Chanani to Nechmia Kislev, the things that Chanani said to Nechmia in Kislev, Amra Nechmia Lamelech b'Nisan. Nechmia said it in Nisan. So clearly, Chanani is the one that told Nechmia exactly what's going on in Eretz Yisrael to get Nechmia to convince the king to allow the Beis HaMikdash to resume being built. So the pasuk clearly says that he first heard about it in Kislev, and then he went to say it over in Nissan. So clearly it was Kislev first and then Nissan, and therefore we have a proof that Goyish kings, non-Jewish kings, start from Tishrei. Their years start from Tishrei. Now the Gemara goes through a history lesson of exactly what's going on here. So things that Hanani told Nechmia and Kislev. Shenemar, Divrei Nechmia, right? This is the first pasuk of Nechmia. Divrei Nechmia ben Chaklayev, B'Chodesh Kislev Shnas Esrim. It was the Chodesh Kislev in the 20th year. And he was in Shushan Avira. Vayavai Hanani Echad Me'ache. Hanani, one of my brothers, came. Vanoshim mi Yehuda, and people from Yehuda. V'ashalem al ha-Yehudim. And I asked them about the yidden, ha-Pleta, that were escaped. Asher nishru min hashevi val Yerushalayim, that were left over from being captured. And I also asked about Yerushalayim. V'yom rali, and they told me, Hanisharim asher nisharu min hashevi shamba medina b'ra gedayla uvecherpa. They're the ones that were left over are in bad place, and they're down and out. I guess that would be. Chaimas Yerushalayim u'Furetzis, and the walls of Yerushalayim are broken down. U'Shareh notzisu be'esh, and the gates are being burned with fire. So that's what they told Nechmia. So Amar Nechmia lemelech b'Nisan. So Nechmia, this was what they told him in Kislev. They told Nechmia Kislev, and he told us to the king in Nisan. Shenemar v'Chodesh Nisan shnas esrim la'Archashasta hamelech yayin lefanav. So what he did is that it was in Nisan, in the 20th year, and there was wine in front of him. Ve'esa sayayin, and I picked up the yayin ve'etna lemelech, and I gave it to the king. And I wasn't bad in his eyes, meaning. So Rashi says normally he was very happy when he went to the king. Here he was down, and he didn't drink the wine. Why is your face bad? You're not sick. This is only something very bad. And he says, and I got very scared, meaning the king got upset. So the Marsha says that he was the taste tester for the king. What do you call it? Nechmia. And he would taste the wine before the king drank it to make sure that he wouldn't get poisoned. And now Nechmia didn't want to drink it, and he was looking down. So there's a chashad, the king, Archashasta. I keep on saying Archashasta. It's Archashasta. Archashasta, yeah, was afraid that he was going to be poisoned by Nechmia. So he said, so what's going on? If I'm a Lamelech, and Nechmia is continuing saying this, and I said to the king, La'ilam Yichya, you should live forever. Madua la yiru panai. Asher Iyar base kibras of chorva. Says, why should my face not be down when the city where my forefathers are buried, it's being destroyed, and the gates are being burned. So is what do you want from me? And I'm going to daven to Hashem. Right? No, I'm sorry. I said no. The king is not davening to Hashem. Nechmia said, I daven to Hashem. He asked me, what do you want? And I daven to Hashem. Hold on a second. What's the place? El Shemayim va'omer lamelech. And I said to the king, Ima lamelech toiv. Right, that's the lashon also in the Megillah. If it's good for the king, v'miyitav avdecha lefanecha. And if your eved is good in your eyes, Asher Tashlichani El Yehuda El Ir Kirbas Avaisai Vavnenu. Right? Then you send me back to Eretz Yisrael, to the Iyar where my forefathers are buried, and I'll rebuild it. V'yamrli HaMelech v'Hashagal, and the Melech and the Shagal, which is an interesting thing, but let's finish this first. V'yamrli HaMelech v'Hashagal Yeshevas Etzlei, and the king said to me, and the assistant or whatever, it's not exactly clear how to type shagel, but some sort of assistant, or there was somebody else there in the room. How long are you going to go? And when are you going to come back? And it was good in the king's eyes. And he sent me, and I gave him a time when I'm going to come back. Right? So who is this shagol? So the Malbim says that the shagol was Esther. This shagol that was in the room was Esther Amalka because it was her son. This Archashasta was Esther's son from Achashverosh. That's the way the Malbim says that the history comes down from this, right? So there's going to be a big kasha on that on the bottom of the Amud, right? But that's what it was, yeah. So fine. So I mean that's why I guess the king was willing. I don't know if he knew yet that she was. Did they know by that point that Esther was Jewish? I guess, right? They must have, right? So Mamela, Dovi, you're the history guy, right? So
Jewish already by then.
What do you say?
Of course, they knew Esther was Jewish by then.
Yeah, but then they had to know. So Mamela, I guess that's why one of the reasons he was willing to give it. Fine. So Maser of Yosef.
Archashasta is the Persian name for Persian kings.
Right. So that's what we're going to see. Maybe the Chashta is not exactly right. So
it's not a person like.
It's not a name. It's not a name. It's like Paroi. It's like Paroi, and it's like Archashasta is the name of the president, and like Paroi, and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Fine. So Maser Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef asked the kasha, right? Because again, we're saying that the Goyish kings start their year from Tishrei, not from Nissan. So Rav Yosef has the kasha. It says B'Yom Esrim V'Arba L'Chodesh on the 24th day of the month. B'Shishi in the 6th month. B'Shna Shtayim L'Daryavish in the 2nd year of Daryavish. Right. Uksiv. That's when they started rebuilding Beis Hamikdash. Uksiv. And then it says, B'Shvi, B'Esrim V'Echad L'Chodesh, in the 7th month in Tishrei, on the 21st day of the month, V'Im Isa B'Shvi B'Shnas Gimel V'Bayla. It should be a 3rd year now because now it's Tishrei. Meaning, if you're saying the first pasuk is saying in the 2nd year, then the next pasuk is saying is that it was also in the 2nd year, right? That's the Shnash Sayim is in parentheses, but it's in the 2nd year and it's in Tishrei. We just got finished saying that Tishrei makes it into the 3rd year. So why doesn't it say the 3rd year? Samarabavo, Koresh, Melech, Kosher Haya. He was a Melech that was kosher. Lefikach manu like Malchei Yisrael. Therefore, he goes with Malchei Yisrael. Right? So since he was Malchei Yisrael, so that's why they count him from Nissan, not from Tishrei. Meaning he wasn't Malchei Yisrael. That's what the Gemara is being mashma here, that he was not Malchei Yisrael. But since he was good to the Jews, therefore they counted him the way they did a regular king. Right? So the kasha on that is if you hold that he was a yid because his mother was Esther, so what do you mean? He was a yid. Why don't you just answer? He was Jewish.
No, but it's talking about Koresh.
What? Yeah, but right. So, some say it was the same.
No, Daryavish the 2nd.
I know, but some say that they were always all one person.
Even the original Koresh and Daryavish.
I don't know enough of the history. What should I tell you? Unfortunately,
after Bavel, Daryavish from Magai took over Belshat Bavel. Then Koresh, they had a civil war. Daryavish and Koresh. Daryavish was older and more seasoned. He won out. When he died, Koresh from Paras took over and became the Persian Empire. And after him was Achashverosh, and then Daryavish II. Is the sequence.
Right. So Taisus also seems to say there was 2 Koreshes. There were 2 Koreshes, 2 Daryavishes. Yeah, there's all sorts of there's all sorts of issues here exactly how it went historically. But those that say that they were all one and the same, I think the art scroll in the Amud Aleph brought it that some say it's all the same. Then this is a major kasha. So I was listening to Rabbi Rosner today, and he had said from Rabbi Yashiv, I don't know how he got to this, that maybe this was before they decided that that a mother is Jewish. I think this is what he said. I was only listening to half an ear. Maybe this is what they decided. This is before they decided if a mother is Jewish, that you're Jewish. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. I was only listening to half an ear, but I thought he said something like that. But either way, so the Gemara answers, so he was nice to the yidden. Since he was nice to the yidden, so therefore he gets counted like a yidden. So then that now the rest of the sugi is going to be about whether he was good to the yidden, not good to the yidden. So Maskal Rav Yosef, Chada, Deim Kain, Kashu Kraya Adadi, you have a steer of all the psukim, right? Because we just got finished saying that they're all from Tishrei. I'm saying there's gonna be more. What's the Vishaitzi braysa dana ad yom tzlas l'yirach adar dihi shnas sheish shamachas dayavish malka. Now all the psukim turn into like Aramaic, right? So it says that the Beis Hamikdash was finished on the 3rd day of Adar, which was the 6th year of the Malchus Dayavish. Okay, the Tanya ba'isez man in that time l'shana haba, and the next year Allah Ezra mi Babel for Galusai Imai, and Ezra came up from Babel with everybody, with the people that were Galus Ksiv. And he came in the 5th month. He shnas hashvis lemelech, and that was the 7th year to the melech. It shouldn't be the 7th year. It should be the 8th year. Right? Because we're saying that he goes with Nissan, so it passed the Nissan. That's one kasha. Right? Koresh Right? One is Koresh and one is Dayavish. Right? So it seems like they're two different, right? Dovi, so the Gemara answers, Tana, who Koresh, who Dayavish, who Archashasta. So now he's saying, here it's saying it's Koresh, is Dayavish, and he's Archashasta. Meaning it's all the same person. Right? So Dayavish, who came after Achashverosh, right? He also had the name Koresh and Archashasta, right? And that's who the pasuk was talking about. Yeah, but like Taisa says, that's not the same as the first Koresh. That's a different one. Yeah. So Koresh Shemelech Kosher Haya. So he was called Koresh because from the word kosher. So that's why they called him Koresh, because he was a kosher king. Archashasta al Shem Malchusa, like we said, and Archashasta, that's the name of the kings. That's their like Paroi and like president or whatever. Umashmai, what was his legitimate name? Dayavish. His legitimate name was Dayavish. So okay, so we took care of that they're all the same. But then again, kasha, right? But you still have the kasha of the stira. So one is talking about before he became bad from the word chametz, or like vinegar, he became bitter or sour, meaning he changed, he flip-flopped. So he was, at one point, he was good for the yidden. So that's when he's considered a yid. And then he became bad. So once he became bad, so then they started counting him from Tishrei, just like any other non-Jewish king. So Maskal of Kahano, mi hichmitz. Did he really get bad? It says in the pasuk, Huma chashchon ubenei siren v'dichrin v'imrin la'lavan. Right? It says whatever they want. If they want siren is a shor, dichrin is rams, imrin is sheep, la'lavan la'Allah is, and to bring it up to their God, right? La'Allah Shemaya. Is that where they get the Arabs get the word Allah from this? Is that what it was? No, any that's I don't know. I think.
Any Muslims in the group?
I don't know. I guess not. So Allah Shemaya. Chintin, yeah. Wheat. Melach, salt, chamar, wine, mashach, oil, kemaimer, kahani de Yerushalayim, whatever the kahanim said that are in Yerushalayim, lahave, let it be for them. The Mitzvah, give it to them, lahaim yaim b'yaim dila shalom, right? It should be for them for every single day, and don't stop it. So you see, what do you mean? He gave a lot of stuff. He gave a lot of stuff to to the yidden. So why are you saying he turned bad? Some of the Yitzchak, Rabbi Mitunach. It's from your own psukim, from the psukim that you just brought as a raya that he was still good. We can prove that he was not good. Why? Dilahain, because what did he continue? Dilahevain, I'm sorry, that mehakriven nichaychen la'Allah shemaya. Let the hakrava and the nichayach, it should be a good smell for the Allah shemaya. U'metzalian l'chayim makal b'nai, so that they could daven for the king and his kids. So you see that he wasn't in this for the yidden's sake. He wanted them to go over there to pray for him and his kids. So he wasn't doing this because he was a nice guy. He had some skin in the game. So when he answers, or really asks, right? And even if he did that, it's not a good thing. Somebody says that I'm going to give money to tzedakah, that my son should live. The only reason I'm giving tzedakah is that he's considered a tzaddik gomer, right? Even though, right, the only thing you're allowed to do this with is tzedakah. Right, the only thing you can make deals with Hashem is that you're giving tzedakah on the condition A, B, C happens. So that you're allowed to do whatever it is. You still call it tzaddik gomer, even though you're doing it for your own selfish reasons. So even though Daryavesh was doing this for selfish reasons, it's still considered legitimate. So when it's like Kasha, what?
He's a yid.
Yeah, so that right. So that was the Kasha we had. What do you mean? He's Esther's son.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we read right. So that was. We have to say that he's a tzad. Yeah, we have to say that we're looking at him like he's a guy. Yeah. Anyways, the answer like Kasha can't be Israel, can't be Abdikachavim. No, by a yid can do things mitoy shaloi lishma balishma, but a guy cannot. I mean, for a yid, why does the guy want to live Olam Haba? It means he's acknowledging Yiddishkeit. He just, he's putting a little selfishness in it. But a guy, right? A guy doesn't particularly care. Yeah. Okay. I guess we went a little too far. Well, I guess we'll stop here and we'll continue this tomorrow. The Gemara gives a bunch more tirutzim. Yeah. Fine. All right. Have yourselves a good night. There's not many kashas you could ask on the night stuff, Kirsch. I don't think.
What's the first teretz? What does it mean? Can't be Israel, can't be Abdikachavim. It means yidden have a lower level to become a tzaddik gomer. A yid can do something shaloi l'shma is considered a tzaddik gomer, but a guy needs a much higher level to become a tzaddik. B'chlal, he's considered a rasha if he does it shaloi l'shma. Not only is he not a tzaddik, he's a rasha.
He's a No, I don't know if it means does it mean he's a Russia, or does it mean that you can't call him that he's on the Jews team?
That's what Hichmitz means, no?
Hichmitz means he just got sour. It doesn't mean he's got to be, it doesn't mean that.
Rashi says, Hichmitz Nasa Russia.
Apparently it's loud there.
Yeah. I don't. Okay, you say one second. Which Rashi?
Muted.
I'm muted.
On base. The time I was.
Umi Hichmet Nasser Russia. You're right. I guess. Okay. I guess you're right.
There is a medrash that says eventually he goes off the barrack, he marries a dog or something.
What do you say?
What?
Can I
medrash that says go off marrying a dog. Look at the screen.
What are you saying, dog?
Can't hear me?
I know there's a lot of background.
You gotta be still in one place. Your microphone's going all over. You can't take your voice out.
A what?
You need to get the iPhone 13 where it has focus on the actual person speaking, or else it picks up the whole room.
Does it really have that?
I saw somewhere that it has it. I don't know. I have to try it.
I don't know if
What do you say?
So did you just say that the Medrash says that he married a dog that's like in Russia?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's going to be tomorrow's daf. That's tomorrow's daf.
Right.
That's
so
the
that's
next daf. That he married, there's a tzaddik. He married a dog.
Right. So
this is without that.
What?
This text of the Gemara says that he was in Russia simply because he built the Beis HaMikdash from his own pocket, but he did it shaloi lishma, so they could daven from it. Mainly he's in Russia. He built the Beis HaMikdash. It's arad.
I hear what you're saying.
Someone gives a little tzedakah, but he does it down. Like, my son should be good. He's a tzaddik gomer. He built the Beis HaMikdash. He's in Russia.
I think
I asked something similar about Kohanim and being like complete Rishayim, but the fact that they're a Kohen, they can give us Birkas Kohanim. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, we get special status regardless, no matter how bad we are. But a guy that did such an amazing thing as build the Beis HaMikdash, but he did Lojma, he's a Russia. I think that's
you guys. I guess the Midwest people are into this kasha.
Not really.
It's Yaakov. I'm not into this kasha. I've gotten rid of the whole West part. I've gotten rid of it.
You and McGuire.
I'm not into the kasha. I think yidden have a certain DNA to them. Yeah, that's what the Gemara says. If you don't trust the Gemara, yidden have a DNA, and the guy don't have that DNA. Shine. We don't. The Gemara says that.
I'm not just.
The Gemara says we're by Shanim and Rachmanim. The Gemara doesn't. I understand that. The Gemara says we are a certain way, so you can trust the yid that in their heart they're a certain way. It's not about actions. Yidden machshavas kamaisa. We don't say that by a guy.
Oh, his machshava is no. That doesn't quite work here.
I'm not saying it's the same thing. My point is, it's not the exact same thing. My point is, you didn't have a different status because they're different people inherently, and they're meisim, and the way the actions they're doing deep down have a different. We look at their actions differently than goyim. Yeah, deep down, the real emes kite of what the meisim are. We look at it deep down. Yes, that's the way we are.
I'm pointing out from
it's
this
in our
Gemara,
DNA.
The harad was simply how magnified that difference is.
Okay. It doesn't bother me. That's be aside what we are.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but okay.
Well, the question is, why does the Gemara?
Why does the Gemara need to go this far anyway? Why can't it just say Archashasta?
What do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's what Dayavish did. That's what he was. That's what he was.
It's the opposite of what he did. He did something good with bad intentions.
I think that's what it means.
No, he built the Beis HaMikdash, but he had a shtickle shalei lishma. He wanted people to daven for him. I mean, the truth is, how shalei lishma is that? Isn't that the purpose? Don't we say in Ritzei, the Koresh should build the Beis HaMikdash, the Ishei, what's the words? In order that we should be able to daven and bring karbanos. What are we daven for? Us. That's what it's for, the Beis HaMikdash.
Right, that's us yidden, though. What does he want to get daven for? He doesn't want to get daven for the right reasons. He wants to daven for the wrong reasons.
I understand. A guy can bring an oila for that reason. For his benefit. That's why he brings an oila.
Wasn't the Beis HaMikdash also like, while we ran it, maybe this is the wrong question, but weren't non-Jews allowed to pray there as well?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They could bring karbanos, they could bring an oiler.
So why are we having this conversation? I'm so lost in what you're trying to.
Now I'm asking. Before it was just the ha'ara. I'm pointing out the difference between the yidden and the goy, how great it is. Now I'm asking, why was it taka shalei v'shma? We do this every day, 3 times a day. We ask to bring back the Beis HaMikdash so we could daven.
I don't understand what you're upset about.
What? I'm saying the same thing you said.
You're not asking why are we one way? Why is it so drastic the other way? That if a guy does something good, even in Shalol Lishma, that it's like they're Rishayim. We classify them as Rishayim. It's not. It seems like everything else is
we're on a higher plane. That we know. We're on a higher plane.
Even but a non-Jew that does good is on that plane too. So I'm saying we're on a level playing field here, yeah. Like this is where we are.
No, that's the point of the Gemara. This is the starting point. The Yid is up here, the guy is down here, right? So now what happens when you do a Shaloi Lishma? So a Yid goes to here, a guy goes to here. He didn't even reach the Yid's status quo. So the Yid becomes a Tzaddik Gomer, the guy still a Russian.
I don't know.
No, but now I'm asking Stamazoi. It's the same thing we daven for every day. How is that? We're a showing for davening Ritzei 3 times a day. We daven Ritzei, Shemini Esrei. Why should you bring back the Beis HaMikdash so we could daven? All right.
Okay, I have a question for you, Tzviakov.
Yeah.
Evan Ezer, pre-reveal, the base, I think it was Aleph. It talks about, it's talking about like yichus basically. If I remember right, it's been a long day already, but it's basically talking about yichus. And then the Ramah comes after and says like the craziest stuff about, like how you like philosophical points of like what type of family you should marry into, what type of girl you should marry, like that type of. It gets real philosophical real quick, like the whole Ramah. Why did he find it necessary? Why would he have found it necessary to do something like that? Where halakha is one thing and then advice is another one almost. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why is he giving advice where it should be halakha?
I don't remember what.
I have it in shul. Otherwise, I would.
Didn't we have Gemaras about this? We had it before, no?
Yeah, it talks about like you check the brothers out and all that stuff, but it wasn't saying la halacha. It was saying like, come on, Gershi. Just because they tell you to do something in the Gemara doesn't mean that's halacha. It's what the Gemara is telling us is being said. You know that just as well as I do. They're not pasking halacha.
I believe the Rambam brings this also. This is halacha.
The what?
Who you should marry. It's not so pashut.
It's fair. I have to go over and I'll video chat all 3 of you. Those 3.
But the Ramah it goes down in levels, no?
Yeah, something like that. It's a level strange. I found it very strange. I get it. I understand like the point of what we're trying to get to and like whatever, but there was a whole like a whole like list and a very strange list of like what she can do, what she can do. Is she tzniustik? And they, like all these different like real hashkafa shilas. And then,
by the way, that's why it's in Hilchas Peri V'Rivia, not in Hilchas Kiddushin or Nisuin.
What so that no one else.
It's about having kids.
So that no one learns it. It's one of the forgotten halakim of Shulchan Aruch. So no one's gonna learn it.
Because halacha l'maisa. What? It's Yaakov.
Well, go ahead.
No. I'm not.
I understand. I'm eating a peanut chew.
Oh. No, I think in Hilchas Kiddushin and Nisuin, it's not halacha l'maisa that you must marry a bas talmid chacham. And as far as the marriage itself is concerned, it's considered hashkafa. As far as Peri V'Rivia, what's the purpose of Peri V'Rivia? To have more yidden, to go weiter with Klal Yisrael. So then, halachically, you have to do the best you can to have the best yidden you can have as kids. The first he can get is about Talmud Chacham.
You want more? I need 2 more people tomorrow night.
Then why would it go so drastically? Speak about it so drastically to, not to build up everything around it and speak like B'Lashon Naki, but like again, it sounds relatively.
Sounds
what?
Why do you use this?
I'm gonna pull it up right now. One second. I have it on my phone. Okay. If someone wants to marry an inappropriate wife, his families can protest him. No intermingling. You should like mark him basically. Like it's this whole thing, and then.
I think we could stop the recording, no?
Yeah.